Good morning, everyone. Today's topic is transforming corner office strategy with frontline stations. So we are Group 6, and we'll start with the introduction. So we all know the benefits of pushing decision making from the CEO's office out to the far reaches of an organization. Fleeting business opportunities can be seized quickly. Products and services better reflect subtle shifts in customers' preferences. Empowered workers are motivated to innovate and take risks. But while the value of such an approach is clear, particularly in a volatile business environment, there is also a built in risk. An organization in which everyone is a decision maker and has the potential to spin out of control. Within a single company, it's tricky to achieve both decentralized decision making and coherent strategic action. Still, some companies like General Electric, American Online, Vanguard, Dell, Walmart, Southwest Airlines, and eBay have just done it. Moving on to the next slide, there are three defining attributes over here: that's soundness, trade offs, and boundaries. A strategic principle, as the distillation of a company's strategy, should guide a company's allocation of scarce resources, that's capital, time, management, attention, labor, and brand, in order to build a sustainable competitive advantage. It should tell a company that what to do and, just as important, what not to do. More specifically, an effective strategic principle does the following: it forces trade offs between competing resource demands, it tests the strategic soundness of a particular action, it sets clear boundaries within which employees must operate while granting them freedom to experiment within those constraints. These three qualities can be seen in American online strategic principle. CEO Steve Case says personal interaction online is the soul of the internet, and he has a position AOL to create that interaction. In the past, a strategic principle was nice to have but has hardly required, unless a company found itself in a trying business situation. Today, many companies simultaneously face four situations that make a strategic principle crucial for success: decentralization, rapid growth, technological change, and institutional turmoil. For the reasons mentioned above, decentralization is becoming common at companies of all stripes. Thus, there is a corresponding need for a mechanism to ensure coherent strategic action, especially in the case of diversified conglomerates where strategy is formed in each of the business units. A strategic principle can help executives maintain consistency while giving unit managers the freedom to tailor the strategies to meet their own needs. It can also clarify the value of the center at such far-flung companies. For example, GE's long-standing strategic principle of always being number one or number two in an industry offers a powerful rationale for how a conglomerate can create value but still give individual units considerable strategic freedom. The next slide will be continued by my teammates.
So the moving forward to the next slide, there is example of Southwest Airlines, that how Southwest Airlines turn its corner office strategy into frontline action. So the Southwest Airlines is one of the, as we know, is one of the air travels industry great success stories. It's one only airline that hasn't lost money in the past 25 years. Its stock price rose a compounded 21,000% between 1972 and 1992, and it is up 300% over the past 5 years, which have been difficult ones in the airline industry. For most companies, such rapid growth would cause problems, leaving of frontline employees taking up the mantle of decision making from core executives and inevitable stumbling. But in Southwest case, employees have consistently made trade-offs in keeping with the company's strategic principle. The process for making important and complicated decisions about things like network design, service offerings, route selection, and pricing, cabin design, and ticketing procedure is straightforward. That's because the traits of required by the strategic principle are clear. For instance, in 1983, Southwest initiated service to Denver, a potentially high traffic destination and a seemingly sensible expression of the company's presence in the southwestern United States. However, the airline experienced longer and more consistent delays at Denver's Stapleton Airport than it did where anywhere else. So now, moving on to the next slide, that's a Vanguard example. So the Vanguard Group, with $565 billion in assets under management, has quietly become a giant in the mutual fund industry. The company's strategy is a response to the inability of most mutual funds to beat the market, often because of the cost of their marketing activities, overhead, and frequent transactions. To counter this, Vanguard discourages investors from making frequent trades and keeps its own overhead and advertising cost far below the industry average. It passes the savings directly to investors who, because Vanguard is a mutual rather than a public company. are the fund's owner. While this was Vanguard's founding strategy for years, the company didn't communicate it widely to employees. As a result, they often suggested initiatives that were out of sync with the company's core strategy. Next slide would be presented by my team.
Discussing about creating strategic principle, that is attracting customers, hire employees and target customers. Many of the best and the most conscientious example of strategic principles come from companies that were founded on them. Companies such as eBay, Dell, Vanguard, Southwest Airlines, and Walmart, that is low prices every day. The founder of those companies espoused a clear principle that summarized the essence of what would become a full bloom business strategy. They attracted investors who believed in it, hired employees who bought into it, and targeted customers who wanted it. Leaders of long standing multinationals like GE crafted their strategic principles at a critical juncture when increasing corporate complicity threatened to confuse priorities on the front line and obscure the essence that truly differentiated their strategy from that of their rivals. Respondents of Bain's annual survey of executives on the usefulness of management tools repeatedly cite the key role a mission statement can play in a company's success. We agree that the mission statement is a crucial for promulgating a company's value and building a robust corporate culture, but it still leaves a large gap in a company's management communication portfolio. At least as important as a mission statement is something that promotes the company's strategy, that is, strategic principle. The ability to frontline employees to execute a company's strategy without close central oversight is a vital as pace of technological change accelerates as a company grow rapidly and become increasingly decentralized. To drive such a behavior, a company needs to give employees a mandate broad enough to encourage enterprising behavior, but specific enough to align employees. That is initiative with company strategy. The next would be discussed by my teammates.
Defense. No strategy is as internal nor in any strategy principle, but even if the elements of your strategy change, the very essence of it's likely to remain the same. Thus, your strategy may shift substantially as your customers demographics and change. It may have to be modified in lightly of your company's changing cost and compared with those of competitors. Strategy have lives are strong things and in general strategies should be received every quarters and updated every years. But while in what revisiting your strategy principles every year, time your re-examines your strategies. It is likely to change only when there is a significance. Shifted is the in the basics economics and opportunities of your market cultures by say legislations or completely new technologies or business models. Thank you.